We were so excited when we finally moved into our dream house. It was an old Victorian, a real fixer-upper, but it had character. We spent the first week just cleaning, airing out the musty smell that had settled into the walls over decades. It was during that initial sweep that my husband, Mark, found it in the attic, tucked away under a dusty canvas sheet. It was a painting, an oil portrait of a young boy, maybe 7 or 8 years old. He had big, sad eyes, and a tear was frozen on his cheek. It was strangely beautiful, but also deeply unsettling. Mark wanted to throw it out, but I felt a strange pull to it. I argued that it was part of the house's history. Against his better judgment, we decided to hang it in the upstairs hallway. That was our first mistake. The first few nights were normal, or so I thought. I started noticing little things. I'd walk past the painting and feel a chill, the kind that makes the hair on your arms stand up. I brushed it off as just the draughts of an old house. Then, one evening, I was walking up to bed and I could have sworn the boy's eyes followed me. I stopped, my heart pounding. I stared at the canvas, but the painted eyes were fixed forward, just as they always were. I told myself I was just tired, my mind playing tricks on me. But the feeling of being watched never really went away. It was a constant, prickling sensation at the back of my neck whenever I was on the second floor. A week later, things escalated. I was home alone, cleaning the hallway. As I wiped down the baseboards near the painting, I glanced up. My breath caught in my throat. There was a new detail on the canvas, a single crimson tear trickling from the boy's other eye, mixing with the original painted one. It looked wet, fresh. I reached out a trembling finger and touched it. It was real. It was blood. I stumbled back, gasping, my mind reeling. I called Mark, my voice shaking, and told him what I saw. He rushed home, but by the time he arrived, the bloody tear was gone. The painting was exactly as it had been. He looked at me with concern, suggesting I was overworked and stressed from the move. He didn't believe me. I felt like I was going crazy. The next few days were a blur of fear. I started avoiding the upstairs hallway altogether, taking the back stairs whenever I could. The feeling of being watched intensified, now following me around the entire house. I'd hear faint sobbing coming from the hallway at night, but whenever Mark and I went to check, there was nothing. He was growing frustrated with me, and I was terrified. One night, I couldn't sleep. The house was silent, but the silence felt heavy, oppressive. I crept out of bed and tiptoed to the hallway. I had to know. I had to face it. As I peeked around the corner, my blood ran cold. The frame was empty. The boy was gone from the painting. Before I could even scream, a cold, tiny hand grabbed my wrists from the shadows beside the frame. I looked down and saw him, the crying boy. His skin was pale and translucent. His eyes were black, empty pits, and real tears of blood streamed down his face. He wasn't a painting anymore. He was standing right in front of me, his grip like iron. He started to pull me, his strength unnatural and terrifying. He was dragging me towards the canvas, which now swirled like a dark, oily vortex. I dug my heels in, screaming for Mark, but my voice was swallowed by the strange, rushing sound coming from the painting. The last thing I saw was my husband's horrified face in the bedroom doorway, as my world dissolved into black paint and the endless, chilling sorrow of the crying boy.